This is the Bat Pod.
Welcome to the Bat Pod, a Batman comic book discussion podcast. On today's show, we're going to be discussing Batman number 3.
Grab your bat microphone, it's time to start the show. Like a quart of owls, the mystery is starting to grow. Let there be no debate, it's about to begin. Keen like Bruce Wayne, quick like Tim Drake, fierce like Damien. Grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime-fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
Welcome to this episode of Gotham Currents. My name is Bill Bere, and joining me tonight, the riddle to my Riddler, J. David Weeder.
Well, that's a scary proposition. The listeners won't find out for just a little bit why that is.
Do you like riddles?
No, I don't.
In your comics?
Oh, in my comics, yes. Okay, just making sure.
I like the Riddler. The riddles, and if you've listened to this show previously, you've probably heard this before, because it was like some of the riddles that they give out in here, I don't even try to solve. Like in this issue they're going to be talking tonight, I don't even try to. Batman answers them, and I'm glad that I didn't have to think about it.
There's only one that I got before Batman gave it to me, but it's up my alley, so.
So, a few weeks ago, we were talking, and I believe it was you that mentioned that I should read this Batman Resurrection, which is a prose novel that takes place after Batman 89, and you've been asking me the last few weeks, have you finished it yet? Have you finished it yet? And I have finished, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I will say I really was too, considering I'm not a fan of the Batman 89 comics at all.
No, I don't know what it is. I got it, the hardcover, to read it all in one thing, and it was like, it just didn't excite me. There wasn't an excitement. But this book got me to rewatch the movie.
There you go. I did the same thing.
Yes, it got me to rewatch the movie, and you know what? It may be just as good as the movie.
I think it actually enhances the movie in
Yes,
some ways. I don't want to spoil too much why, but it answers some questions.
But yeah, it does enhance the movie, especially with certain characters that show up in the book. Mm-hmm. That I was like, oh, I need to rewatch a couple of these scenes to see this particular person, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't even realize it was out there, but it was a lot of fun. If you enjoyed Batman 89, this is a must-read. I
will warn everybody that for me, and this has been true with this writer's other work because he wrote Kenobi, John Jackson Miller, a Star Wars book. It's very satisfying, but he tends to write very, very intricate answers to things that aren't being asked. And it kind of sags in the middle, but once it picks back up, you're white-knuckling it all the way to the end. Perfect. And I'm excited about the next book as well.
Yes. Yeah, there was another book that was just released. It's like this month, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And they set this one up, and it ties into what we're talking about tonight. What a coincidence.
It does. So, talking about tonight, we're doing our Gotham Currents episode. Yes, David is still reading Batman. New issues.
It's like a whole new world for me.
Our issue is Batman number 3. If you'd like to join the conversation, our email is thepodcast@thebatpod.com. We are on Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook. Just search the Bat Pod Podcast. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please consider giving us a review. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll read it right here on the podcast. And speaking of reviews, I forgot to mention somebody. Yes, it's my fault. I forgot to mention, I believe I showed you when we got the review.
It's a real possibility, but I've slept since then, so. And my memory's not even reliable at that, so. Wait, what's your name again? I'm kidding.
This was from 2 months ago. Jeez, we're really slacking here. The title is Holy Great Podcast. Darth Hawkeye, Mike Jamison. And he says, it's always a pleasure to listen to a podcast hosted by people who are both passionate and knowledgeable about their subject, with the added bonus of a fun and welcoming atmosphere. This podcast has all of that and more. Give it a listen. It's a moral imperative.
Yes, it is. And also, remember, Mike hosts his own podcast, Pop Culture Basement.
Yes. And I've been on an episode.
Yes.
I was on an episode. Little Trouble, Big China.
Little Trouble in Big... That is a classic.
Yes. That was a lot of fun. Got to rewatch that. That was a lot of fun. But no, he recently had an episode about sequels in 89. 89 sequels. Now, Batman didn't count because it wasn't a sequel, but it was very entertaining. I enjoy that podcast a lot.
Yep, and that was right up my alley. That was a great year for movies in general, but, I mean, so many good sequels in there, too, so.
Right, Back to the Future and...
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
Lethal Weapon 2. There was Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 2. I
could go down, I'm not going to let myself go down the rabbit hole, but I could very easily derail us.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to head to our book.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
So our book tonight is Batman #3. Your writer, Matt Fraction. Art and cover, Jorge Jimenez. Colors, Tumu Mori. Letter, Clayton Cowles with Jorge Jimenez. And editor, Rob Levin. And we get a cover here. We have Riddler trying to steal something on the cover. He's got this big, creepy smile, and Batman sneaking up behind him. What did you think of this cover?
I got to say, of the three we've had, and look, it's a first world problem when I say this cover, which is great, is the weakest of the three, because we've had such spectacular covers leading up to this but this was good, but not as good as the other two.
Yeah. I mean, it did its job.
Mm-hmm.
At first, for a minute, I was like, okay, who is that? But then you see the little Riddler question mark on his wrist, and it's like, yeah, that's a Riddler. So, in this issue, a boy interviews Miss Mallory as gunshots interrupt them, and the boy records Batman and Robin fleeing the scene of two shot officers from last issue. Commissioner Vandal Savage later plants a bloody batarang and forces an injured cop to blame Batman. Bruce visits Tim in the hospital but is pushed away by Tim's friend Bernard. A talk show debate between Hugo Strange and Dr. Anna Zeller catches Bruce's eye. Zeller claims her Wayne-funded device, Crown of Storms, can correct violent behavior by balancing brain chemistry. After sparring with Damian, Bruce meets Gordon and Bullock, who warn him Savage is staging a false attack to justify sending mercenaries after Batman. Meanwhile, the Riddler breaks into Wayne Experimental Sciences building to steal Zeller's device. Batman stops him, and with a holographic Alfred's help, discovers Zeller has been experimenting on Arkham inmates as our issue ends. So we get issue #3, and if you're joining us and you haven't heard us discuss the first two issues, we have myself, a current reader of Batman for the last 40-some years without stopping, and then we have Dave here, who just picked up current issues again. So that's where our dynamic is. So I just want to give that right from the top. So before we get in here, what did you think of this third issue?
It engaged me. I was very, very engaged. I thought we were building up to something, and then it abruptly ended. So it feels like half a really good issue.
The first time I read it, it was like, that seems like a step down. But overall, I enjoyed reading it a second time. I enjoyed, you see some aspects, and I said it's sort of this one and done feeling, but it has interconnectivity.
Yeah, but I don't feel like this issue fell into that. I feel like this is the first of a two-parter, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it almost feels that way because the way the last one ended, and you see parts of what happened in last issue, but you see You get a behind-the-scenes kind of thing. It's almost like this is number 2B.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it.
So when we jump in here, we have our first scene of a kid interviewing one of the, I assume, neighbors in his building, talking about Gotham. And she's a little bit of old school. She tells them everybody's on their phones all the time. Buildings come and go. It says, we're on our own now. Seems like nobody's helping nobody except for you-know-who. And never say his name out loud unless you need him. And then they get interrupted by a couple shots. And we see Batman and Robin escaping in the Batmobile from last issue and the two cops on the ground. But we also see Savage planting a batarang that the boy is videoing.
Yeah, that boy's just got a target written right on his back just then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it does feel like that issue 2 was like this huge issue, and they kind of went with the Batman and Robin thing. Interesting.
A little. I feel like you had the semi-cliffhanger last issue that just kind of goes away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's touched on a little, but it just kind of felt like it was a very disconnected.
That it did felt a little disconnected. I mean, we get Savage going to one of the officers that were shot and said, basically, you saw Batman, and he's being honest, and he says, we apprehended Robin, so Batman came to his rescue, and then he basically threatens his life.
Yeah, and it's terrifying.
We get a little side story with Bruce going to see, Tim, who's actually in a hospital.
Which is weird because I thought Bruce took the worst of the two injuries. Bruce took one to the head.
Tim did get shot.
Oh, true.
So I guess that's why they were on some kind of trip. And Bruce's, or I guess Tim's boyfriend, I know they've gone in that direction that Tim is bisexual now. So I believe that this is his boyfriend, but I'm not 100% sure because I didn't read that story that happened in.
So friend with potential, I guess, would be yeah.
Right. The biggest thing we get out of this is kind of amusing. He says, Mr. Wayne, I realized something funny the other day. Whenever you and Tim go off on one of your little bro weekends, he comes back all beaten up to hell. It's weird, isn't it?
I like that this is because, yeah, Tim, remember Rainbow Batman, because he had to be Rainbow Batman to distract everybody from Dick being injured. That's something that doesn't get addressed, that Tim would have bruises and these were serious injuries. It always tends to be grazed, but this is one where, Bernard's calling it out completely. Like, hey, something's wrong here.
Yeah, and Bruce doesn't really say too much. He doesn't argue.
No.
He does catch a show on the TV that's in the waiting room. And this is where we get Dr. Zeller. We get Hugo Strange, which surprised me.
Mm-hmm. I have questions about that.
Throw your questions out because I did a little research.
Okay.
To refresh my memory.
Because this doesn't seem like Hugo Strange at all. None of this. Like, this would not be a stance he would have, because he was big in, he even mentions eugenics. I'm like, weren't you the one that was dabbling with that a lot?
Yeah, it doesn't. And Hugo Strange hasn't been in this book for a while. And I'm talking for a while Tom King's run.
Oh.
So we were in the 150s, almost 160s. It was around the first 10 or 15 issues that there was a crossover with the Monster Men and Hugo Strange had come back. But again, I don't know if this is Hugo Strange, if it is the Hugo Strange that we know. I mean, does it say that it's Hugo Strange? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does say Dr. Hugo Strange. It's kind of weird.
And when you saw the device, did you immediately think of Batman Forever? Because I did.
Oh, a little bit, yes. And here's the thing that you might not know. As we get in here, obviously, the Riddler shows up. The Riddler has been in the last 3 stories that has been written in Batman by 3 different writers. He was in the last story with Chip Zdarsky.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Hush 2 story that's currently going on. And he's in this story. Now, it is very well possible that the story was written previous or in parallel to those other stories. But that's what you have an editor for, isn't that correct?
Yeah, they're supposed to keep everything straight.
Right. So we have the Riddler show up again, which, we're talking about this Crown of Storms, and they've been using it on inmates at Arkham, apparently, and it's going to heal their brains and that sort of thing. And it's financed by Wayne Enterprises, which Bruce looks like he's never even heard of that before, because he just met her in issue number 1 with a very different Killer Croc.
Yes.
So it makes sense that this thing was being used. Now, here's the thing. In Chip Zdarsky's run, they had a character there that was using a machine on inmates to try to cure them of their villainy, if you want to call it. And that was just 10 issues ago.
So they've already forgotten in less than a year.
Yeah, which I find that very strange. And I was listening to the Overlooked Dark Knight podcast, and they were talking about, continuity and writers, maybe just clinging on to certain things of continuity. The one thing I want to say about that, up to the previous arc, and I'm not talking about Hush 2, up to the previous arc before Hush 2, and that includes James Tynan's run in Joker War and Chip Zdarsky's run, I thought they kept the continuity of what's been going on with Bruce very well. It seemed to be, he had lost his money, and they seemed to go with that. Now I'm not quite sure, because it started at number 1, and we said, this is not a reboot. It doesn't really feel like a reboot. But in some aspects, it does feel like, it's sort of rebooted.
Kind of. It's like it kind of maybe sort of nods to continuity, but for the most part, it does its own thing. And DC has done this before with Brian Michael Bendis, because he came aboard and they had just fixed Superman's secret identity, and he breaks it again because I think they're catering to the name that they want on the book.
Mm-hmm.
And this book's been great, but I think maybe a little editorial input could have helped it, be part of the overall tapestry.
Because the other thing I noticed is we get Damian Wayne here, and he even mentions that Damian's going to go to college. He got accepted to Gotham University at his age, and he's not interested in going, and said, but you can learn these different things that the League of Assassins hasn't taught you, even girls. And Damian acts like the little punk that we all know Damian to be, but they just ignored Batman and Robin for the last 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like Damian moved past this, and they're in a better place. I mean, he knocks him in the privates.
Yeah.
He kicks Bruce in the privates. I mean, he says, I fear no man, for my mission is righteous. How could you forget? It was you who taught me that.
I do like that statement. I fear no man because my mission is righteous. That's a cool statement, but then he turns around and just does a jerk move.
This very well could be before that story that happened in Batman and Robin, and it all depends. I'm just a continuity junkie, and that's why I read current comics. I know some of it doesn't translate, and some of it does. It depends who the writer is. Sometimes it's very good, and it's like, okay, I feel like the last few story arcs kind of lead into this, and it's sort of like that, a good TV show from week to week, and the story goes on, and they don't forget, but then sometimes a new season starts, and it's like, okay, what's going on here? They didn't pick up this, they didn't pick up that, and they pretended this character doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of my favorite shows of all time did that. There was a character on the West Wing. There was a character that was a main character through season 1, didn't come back in season 2, and never mentioned again. But with TV, you've got a little bit of leeway because back then it was weekly.
So we get Gordon and Bullock, which is pretty straight on, because in the last arc, Gordon was framed by the Riddler for killing the mayor. That's when Gordon decided he wanted to get back into police work, and he's a beat cop here. And I like that they have Bullock investigations, and this is the coolest thing in this book is they got a new bat signal.
Yes, they do.
And it's not what you think. And I was thinking when Gordon is calling Harvey to put up the bat signal, and he takes this little stuffed animal. It says, "I love Gotham City." A stuffed bat with suction cups. And he puts it on his window where his investigation office is. And he says, "Consider the bat signal activated."
Yes.
Of course, they can't do a real bat signal based on who the commissioner is at the moment. But I thought that was pretty funny.
I loved that part. That made me laugh, literally laugh out loud.
And then we get another part. We get Bruce Wayne at a board meeting for Wayne Enterprises. No Lucius Fox. And that's a long and complicated story, too.
Okay, I was about to ask, so...
When the Joker took Bruce's money, they got some of it back, but it went to Lucius Fox.
Okay.
It's very complicated.
I get that part, but I'm wondering now if that's something. If Bruce has his money back and Lucius isn't here.
This is kind of crazy. But Bruce had this alter ego. If you read the Grant Morrison run with the Batman Zur-En-Ah, the previous Chip Zdarsky arc had Zur-En-Ah, be active again, and he basically split from Bruce, went into this killer robot. He went into this killer robot.
And that was fail-safe. That was
fail-safe.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Zur-En-Ah was in fail-safe after Bruce kind of defeated fail-safe. But this Bruce Wayne, disguised this Zur-En-Ah Bruce Wayne, started going to work for Bruce and started making money again. And he had all these hidden billions. And when Bruce defeated him and discovered him, he's a billionaire again. So that's how Bruce got his money back. That's how Bruce is standing in this, because he was impersonated by his other Bruce Wayne. It's supposed to be Batman without any empathy, or it's just all Batman, no Bruce Wayne. Was this Zur-En-Ah that he made, as a backup personality. And you can go into other things, because the Joker did the same thing, because they had a Joker Year One, where the Joker made backup personalities too.
I got nothing.
Okay, yeah, I figured. It's all good. So Batman meets up with Gordon and Bullock, and they're on the roof, and he's basically telling them what Savage is doing. He set him up, and he says it's shoot to kill for Batman and Robin. And I think the cool thing is, he says, everything old is new again.
Mm-hmm. Back to almost like year one. I was just going to say, I like that they explained that the big signal, the light, is more to scare people than to summon Batman.
Right. I like that a lot. And Bullock was like, "Hey, Jimmy, how's Tall, Dark, and Spooky here going to do his disappearing act from this little building? Like, without..." And then Batman mentions, "They're going to hit that woman on the street." And Bullock's yelling, "That maniac." And then you just see, these armored cops swerve and almost hit a lady. And then Batman's gone. I thought that was kind of...
He'll find a way. He'll find a way to slip out.
So then we get the Riddler, who has snuck in this Wayne Experimental Sciences building to steal this crown of thorns. And Batman shows up. Well, this is kind of cool, because Batman shows up in this stealth suit, which I've never seen before. But it even explains it, because they have a little thing at the top that shows a little picture. It says stealth suit, light bending, noise damping, titanographene weave. And I'll let you explain to what that means exactly.
It basically refracts light around him so you can't see him.
Okay, there you go.
This is where it clicked for me, though. I had forgotten that Matt Fraction wrote Iron Man.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, yeah. We're seeing a Batman done in Iron Man style, and I'm not mad at it.
No, I like that a lot. And this suit is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was surprised.
It's see-through, and you see him coming back where he can see him. And as soon as he shows the Riddler it's him, he answers all his riddles. Mm-hmm. When you're tied up, when it goes down with a car, when the alarm is off, and he took the crown. It goes back to that last arc with the Riddler, and he says, "You had it together there for a while. CEO of Nigma Tech, so rich you could buy your way out of any trouble, on top of the world." And then Riddler, once defeated, he basically said, there's a lot going on in his head and there's too much noise in his head. And he gives him this piece of paper that apparently there's a bunch of riddles on it. And he says, hours. It says it took me hours. He says, make it stop. Just want to make it stop. And he gave him a sedative to kind of calm him down. But that's where a story is headed in this direction, because him and Alfred, and I say Alfred, it's hologram Alfred, that figure out, his last riddle that he mentioned as he's almost out of it is calling out Arkham. And that's when they kind of put together, is this Dr. Zeller using this to experiment on the inmates.
Yeah, and it's like he can't say what he needs to say, so he's giving riddles to give pieces of it.
Yeah.
So there's a block, and I know there was a storyline with Poison Ivy that the Board of Wayne Foundation couldn't share, certain like a post-hypnotic suggestion. It's like that's what we're dealing with the Riddler, and he's trying to find a way because he's smarter than the average bear, essentially.
Yeah, that's interesting. And one piece I did want to mention, the boy Huston from the beginning, who has the video recording of Savage, planning a batarang. He goes into this diner called Inky's, and there's a gentleman sitting reading a newspaper, and he says, the kid was like, my name's Hudson, I live in your building, I'm doing a homework assignment. And he says, I don't tutor kids, and I don't do internships. He says, no, sir. He says, I filmed something tonight. Like, I think it could be news. And that's what you do, right? You're a newspaper man.
Bad idea, kid. Bad idea.
Yeah.
I'm a little terrified for the kid.
Because a supervillain is the commissioner. Now, there's been supervillains, commissioners before. Overall, I like where this is going. The thing with the villains kind of threw me off just because. Can we have somebody besides the Riddler?
Right.
Can we have anybody? There's so many good Batman villains. Maybe we could use somebody else. I'm not talking about the Joker either.
No, but somebody who we haven't seen for a good long while.
Right. Yeah, 'cause there's a ton of them, and so since he appears to be going to Arkham, I think we're going to see some show up next issue, or we should.
We should.
We should. I do like that Tim Drake's in this.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind more of Tim Drake as
He didn't
Robin.
have a very big role this particular issue. In the first issue, he only showed up at the end. He was basically only in the second, but I would like to see a more ongoing role for him. But overall, I enjoyed what we got here. I have a few pet peeves, as I said. Most of it's like continuity type of thing, but overall, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's as strong as the first two.
No, I don't think it's as strong as the first two, but I think it's the first half of something, and it's got me invested enough that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to the next issue now.
Okay.
It's doing its job.
We go.
I like how sleek everything is, and just there are elements where we've not seen Batman on this far on the back foot before.
So how do you feel? I know this is probably your first experience reading with Arkham being in downtown Gotham in these towers. How do you feel about that?
It doesn't feel wrong. It makes sense. It's kind of like when Bruce moved to the Wayne Foundation. It puts things in a location where it's going to at one point go badly.
And the first story that Arkham Tower showed up in, it was in Detective Comics, and it was a story about the guy that was running Arkham Towers, and Batman wasn't even in the story. It was all the side characters.
That's right. I remember what you're talking about now.
It was Nightwing and all the Robins and Huntress, Oracle, and everybody. It was pretty decent. But he was using the Psycho Pirate to like trick healing of patients, so
which is genius. That makes perfect sense. I like when you pull a decent character that's obscure into the right location, the right time. And that's a great application of that character.
So did you get a preview in yours?
I got a preview of, it's of Batman Beyond, Static Beyond, yeah.
Interesting, because they have Superman in there too. It picks up that story from several years ago.
Yeah.
I think Norm Brayfogle actually was on that, if I remember correctly.
I know Howard, it might have been, I know Howard Porter was doing it for a chunk of it at the beginning.
Wasn't that Batman Beyond Unlimited or something like
Yeah.
that, I believe.
Yep.
So, okay. So we'll go ahead and we're going to head to what we learned.
Come on, Robin. To the Batcave. We haven't one moment to lose.
So, David, what did you learn in this episode?
I learned if I want to get ahead in life, I'm going to have to create an alternate personality to do all my working for me.
There you go. Let me know how that works out for you, because I'd like one of those too.
I'll do the market research, if you will.
Yeah, I'm just going to retire and it can go to work for me. I don't know if my wife would like that too much, but...
Double-edged sword.
Right. So what I learned in this issue, if you don't have a real bat signal, all you need is a stuffed animal with suction cups and put that on the window and Batman will show up.
Yeah, exactly. Although I technically, in my bathroom window, my upstairs bathroom window, I have a Batman symbol on the window. He's not shown up yet.
Oh.
It's
what's
my
going
bat
on?
room.
Really? What's going on?
Maybe you have to be in Gotham for it to work.
Maybe. We'll have to head there someday. I mean, here, not too long ago, my kids were like, hey, where would you like to go if you could go anywhere? And I said, I'd like to go to Gotham. So, yeah.
I don't know if there's a real Gotham City. There is a metropolis in Illinois, though, so...
Oh, there you go. Is that where they have the Superman celebration?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, I figured. We'll be back to our regular next episode, with our older books. But before we get out of here, do you have any final thoughts or wisdom?
I do. I found out that if you combine the DNA of a crab and a cheetah, things go sideways really fast.
Is that right?
Exactly. Yep.
Until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. We will see you later.